welcome back. And now we start in earnest, and we're going to begin by looking at the CBN's KYC requirements. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. The CBN has set new deposit limits for all categories of bank holders and introduced a 3-tier Know Your Customer requirement for banks. The policy has also categorized bank customers into 3 value accounts: the low, the medium, and the high. All this is grammar as far as I'm concerned. What does all this mean? Well, we have experts in here with us who are going to explain all this to us so that we as customers can know exactly what our responsibilities are. It's my pleasure to welcome the MD of Cowrie Assets Management Limited, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Good morning.
Good morning.
Also here is the CEO of Investment Banking, BGL, Mr. Wale Oluwo.
Good morning. Good to be here.
And thank you both for joining us this morning. Now, this new policy, Mr. Chukwu, first of all, what is it designed to achieve?
I think the primary objective is to improve on financial inclusiveness, to improve on the number of Nigerians that use financial instruments that patronize the banks. For instance, what the CBN statistics says is that of the 87.8 million adult Nigerians, only 31.5 million adult Nigerians have bank accounts. It then means that about 56.3 million Nigerians do not have adults, I'm not talking of children, do not have any dealing whatsoever with the banks. Okay. That's about 64.1% of the Nigerian adult population. And it simply means that their activities, their financial activities, are completely outside the coverage of the financial institutions. Also, that weakens the ability to generate income, because if you can't have access to financial instruments, if you don't have access to credit, if you can't access the banking system, it reduces your capacity as an individual to generate income on your own, for yourself.
Mr. Chukwu, why would I, Mama Sikira, selling amala around the corner, why would I go put my earning today of, say, 5,000 naira in a bank and have to go queue tomorrow to get it out again?
You see, that's the beauty of it. Because of multiplicity of channels of delivery, you no longer need to queue. As the woman who earns 5,000 naira revenue every day, you log into the bank, and then if you need to, one, you eliminate the risk that it could be stolen. That will be completely eliminated. Then if you need that money, you don't need to go to the bank. You can actually use your ATM and go to the nearest ATM. And interestingly, because the ATMs are all portable, you can actually use any bank's ATM. You can go to ATM and withdraw that money. You don't need to go to the bank. And again, as you advance in your knowledge of banking services, you don't even, when you want to make your payment, you don't need to go to ATM to withdraw. You can use a POS terminal to make your payment, so you don't touch cash. Or you can also use the mobile payment system to transfer your money from your account to somebody you want to pay. So, and above all, it also gives you the opportunity to borrow, to leverage. Because once you begin to build a credit record, once you begin to have your transactions reflected in a banking system, the bank can actually measure your revenue. It helps you to organize your finances better. And it also, as your finances are improving, you also have access to credit to actually increase your business activity, no matter how small it was. I mean, you can actually grow it.
Okay, so Yalamala down the road is about to grow her business. I still find it a bit of a hard sell, but we'll leave it there for now. Mr. Luo, the bank has said that maximum single deposit for the low value is 20,000 naira, and for the medium is 50,000 naira. What does that mean?
Let me start by saying, I'll take it from where Shuku left in the first instance. In addition to financial inclusion, this also borders on managing money laundering issues. Now, CBN has set these limits. On the KYC side, it has eliminated account opening requirements for all the 3 categories. I think that is a good thing, because it will help financial inclusion in the real sense of it.
What do you mean eliminated? So what do I need now to open an account? What does Yasikira need to open an account?
You know, then Yasikira will need to go and bring passport, photograph, and all those other documentation to satisfy KYC requirement. But now, you don't need to bring anything.
Really?
Not only that, it's just normal identification, and anybody can identify you, particularly if you have an imam or maybe your pastor, somebody of value in the society can identify you. So it reduces the requirement for you to be able to open an account in a bank. That is on one hand. On the other hand, these banks that CBN is trying to use as a platform to reach this lower segment of the society, I'm not sure they are structured to really perform that service. CBN on its own smartly too licensed a lot of microfinance banks. I would have thought that it is a microfinance bank that should be encouraged to penetrate these lower, savers and, account holders, because number one, they are more flexible, they are close to those people, and they will eliminate the risk of the third party arrangement that CBN has introduced into this equation, which is to say the low savers or low account holders would not need to come to the bank. There can be an agent in between, a third party, and that agent they call the bank agent or something. They can go into the rural areas, collect their monies, and then come and save it in the banks. That comes with its own risk, because who is going to certify that agent? Who is going to compensate in the event that those people run away with the monies of the general public? And a lot of other things that you need to but if you have a microfinance institution, they can get a local government license, which is just 20 million. There is another level which is 100 million for state and maybe 1 billion for the national. And now, by February, the CBN has set a deadline that if they don't meet those capitalization, a lot of their licenses will be withdrawn. So we cannot be talking of financial inclusion on one hand and then be thinking of how to reduce that level of the financial system that can drive this financial inclusion at the long run. That is my own concern about the whole issue. The second concern I have is that CBN is setting the limits for you to open an account and setting the balance that should be in that account. I don't think it's the job of a central bank to do that. I see a growing tendency where the Central Bank of Nigeria, is going beyond financial regulation and going into other things that ordinarily should be driven by competition, by market forces. It's market forces that set those things, and there should be issues.
So these figures represent the minimum amounts that should be in those accounts?
No. The maximum for the lowest tier, I think, is 200,000. You cannot have more than 200,000 in the lowest one.
No, our understanding is maximum single deposit amount.
That is when you want to pay.
Oh, they can't pay more than 20,000.
They can't pay more than 20,000. But the cumulative that must be in that account at any point in time is 200,000 for the tier 1, then the tier 2 is 400, and then the tier 3, no.
Yeah, why this kind of regulation? What is it going to do? I mean, if for instance, I am Yasikira and somebody has a party and they bring the party to my little booker and I make a lot of money that day.
Maybe you make 500,000 cash.
Possibly.
It has limited you. You can't go to your bank and pay 500 because
why would central bank do that?
That is part
they're
of what
trying to encourage me to put my money in the bank. Okay. I've made plenty of money now, and they're saying if it's more than 200, then there's a problem. I can't put it in the bank. So I'm still encouraged to now put my money under my pillow, which is what I wanted to do in the first place anyway.
Which you would have been able to do if CBN did not come up with this regulation.
Yes.
So this regulation, to that extent, I don't think they should have dabbled into limiting maximum amount that should be in an account, or even setting the maximum deposit limit that you can make. And that's part of my concern with the present CBN, because they seem to be going deeper and deeper into creating a kind of unitary system in the financial institution where banks are being told what to charge as tariff. There's a tariff structure that is coming now that will be applied generally. I don't think it's the right thing to do. You don't fix a price in a free market enterprise. It is competition and market forces that should fix price, and each institution, a bank, should be able to set its own deposit limit and set all those things that CBN is forcing them to set in a unitary way. So these things, I see a lot of risk and problems with its implementation. But like I said, I don't think the banks are the best institutions to drive this particular initiative.
Let me ask Mr. Chukwu, do you think the regulator is over-regulating?
Well, the way I would put it is this. There are instances where you think they may have gone overboard.
Is this one of those instances?
You see, like what Wale said, the operationalization of this policy may pose some challenges. He was right to say that, look, probably the microfinance banks are the most appropriate institutions to do that, to have these limits specified for them. But basic thing you have to look at also where their mindset, where they're coming from, which is basically that for the the primary objective is financial inclusiveness, to encourage those who don't have access to the banking system to come to the banking system. That's the primary objective. And what they tried to do was find out what are the challenges that those who do not have accounts encounter in opening an account. Principal challenge that most people don't have accounts encounter is the means of identification. If you go to open an account in a bank, they require you to bring a driver's license, an international passport. Those are the key.
Utility bill.
They also need to get a utility bill. I had an instance where a missionary who has been in this country for decades wanted to open an account. He lives in a church facility, and the bank required that the missionary should go and get a utility bill. And the church facility is a massive complex. So the missionary, who is one of the several people in that complex, cannot have access to the utility bill. Okay, and that is a sine qua non for you to have an account. So what the central bank tried to do is to say, look, some of these challenges for those who, if you go to my village where I come from, 95% of the people in the village that live in the village today do not have any means of identification. The closest thing they can give you is their voter's card. So so it simply means they are completely excluded by regulation, by law, from opening an account. So what central bank wanted to do was take out that, and they feel that, look, if you look at the income of these people, it is at the subsistence level. So you don't expect them to have so much money to go to the bank. And in order to ensure that you do not allow money laundering, because these are people whose identity the bank cannot fully vouch for. In order to eliminate money laundering, they want to make sure that the amounts that come into these people whose identity cannot necessarily be verified is within a particular threshold. I think that's what they formed the decision to say, look, for those in low value customers, you cannot lodge more than 20,000, and you cannot have a cumulative balance of more than 200,000. Medium level value customers, maximum lodgement 50,000, not exceeding 400,000 balance. The implication of that is this: if somebody goes to open an account under the low value tier customer and wants to use it to launder money, so that once that money comes into the account, it leaves the account and it closes the account, and the bank cannot trace the identity of that person because they never really got an identity. That base they had a picture. Okay, that will be eliminated. I think that's the mindset that they formed those thresholds.
So in essence, the assumption is that the probability of these people being in a position to want to lodge more money than is regulatorily allowed is very limited. Absolutely. And for that reason, they will take the risk.
Absolutely. And that's why they also say that the maximum amount that such accounts you have, for instance, the low value is 200,000. A bank can afford to write 200,000 units of 200,000 balances. You understand what I'm saying? Assuming the losses crystallize from those accounts. But if you're a high value customer, for instance, the example we gave, where Iyabeji.
Her name is changing all the time, but we get the idea.
Iyabeji, who is into food business.
She has a little book down the road.
And then she's now hosting an event. I mean, she was engaged to host an event and met 500,000. Automatically with 500,000, her profile changes.